can emotionally affect, you have them in your pocket, right? To one degree or another. You can emotionally control somebody. I'll tell you who's excellent at this. Women. Women are fantastic at this. If a woman realizes she can piss you off with X thing, she'll notice it, she'll keep it in her pocket. You know what? That annoys him. Cool, sorry baby, sorry. 3 weeks later, 2 months later, they realize when you're vulnerable. I can tell you this, I can tell you the experience from fighting. When I was fighting, I was a kickboxing world champion, right? I never made millions from fighting. Kickboxing is not that big a sport. 10 years ago, even UFC wasn't as big as it is now. So I was making money, but I mean, I was probably fighting 2 or 3 times a year, and most I ever got paid was 100, 150 grand a fight. So I was kind of normal life. And whichever girlfriend I had at the time, no matter what, she always managed to start some asinine, stupid, immature fight with me like 3 days before a fight. Because I'm weight drained, I haven't eaten, I'm nervous, I can't sleep. I've been training for the smartest thing a woman can do to prevent rape. It's not to sit here on a podcast and try and change the way men think and talk about your bullshit, but to take some degree of personal responsibility and not put yourself in dangerous situations. I'm not saying that's gonna prevent all rape. I'm not saying that rape is okay. Rapists should be executed. I'm not saying that every single woman who was ever assaulted could have prevented it. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying the smartest thing a woman can do is say, this is dangerous. Going home with this guy I just met is dangerous. Walking through this area by myself is dangerous. Let me call a taxi. Let me call my brother. Let me go with my husband. Isn't that a more intelligent way to teach women to prevent themselves from being raped, as opposed to telling them you can do whatever you want, walk around in the middle of the night naked, it's no problem, men shouldn't rape, men are the problem. I said, what you're trying to do is illogical. What I'm trying to say will actually prevent rape. So what you're saying, when you're telling girls do whatever you want, men are the problem, you're convincing women to put themselves in situations where bad things might happen to them. Whereas I'm saying, listen, women and men, look after yourselves. I'm a full-grown man, 4-time kickboxing world champion. There's places I don't go alone. An easy way for me to express in a few words how I view the world works. I've adopted something from popular culture and I've adapted it to try and quickly explain. If I try and sit and explain that most people are being used for their resource, they're being projected a reality that isn't true, they're convinced of things that aren't true, they're promised that if they slave away hard enough, at the end you'll retire, at the end it'll be good, which is a lie, and they're just used for their resource until they die. To get into that and explain it at length is difficult. But if I say you're inside of the Matrix and they've seen the movie, they're like, what do you mean? You're inside the Matrix. You're living inside of a projected reality and your body heat is being extracted in real time for the machines. That's what's happening to you. You're like, I don't understand. You will understand once you break free. How do I break free? You break free when you can talk freely. This is the thing that's amazing. And I talk a lot about money, but I'm not that financially driven. I just understand if you don't have money, you can't have an opinion. You can't say what you think. You can't do what you're not told to do because then you can't pay the mortgage. If they say wear a mask to come to work, even no matter how much you know that mask is fruitless, you must pay the bills. You must comply. That's the Matrix. You have no force but to comply. It's only when you get to a point of money where you can say, no, my principles are worth losing X million. That's when you can escape the Matrix. Money is a primary motivator to escape. I've always been interested in freedom more than money. It's not about having nice things. It's about having freedom of mind and freedom of thought and freedom and autonomy of my own body. That requires money. Or it requires the complete opposite, like I said earlier. It's either no money, living on the street, or a lot of money. Anywhere in between, you're controlled. But if you ain't got shit and you're on the beach, wear a mask, get fucked. Get fucked. We're gonna take my house, I ain't got one. No.
So
the reason I believe that I'm gonna be okay is threefold. One, the Matrix has not completely and utterly deleted me because they can't. I'm still all over these platforms. I'm still all over them. My account's gone.
Yeah.
I never had a TikTok account anyway. They said, when I read the news that they banned my TikTok account, I said, I don't know which poor 15-year-old had his account deleted, but it wasn't mine. I don't have one. I don't have a TikTok account. I no longer have a YouTube account, I no longer have an Instagram account.
That's crazy, by the way. You didn't even have a TikTok account.
Don't have one. They watch it.
Although you were going viral on TikTok.
It's destructive for the mind. It destroys your attention span. So I don't have it on my phone. I'm already all over these platforms. The problem is, my biggest problem I was facing pre-ban was a lot of people going, Tate's smart, and I agree with him, but he's too fucked with the Matrix, the narrative, the enemy, him being dangerous. Nah. That's the only problem I had. Nobody said I was wrong. They said I was semi-paranoid. Then I was proved right. So now I've had so many people going, you know what, I loved your content, but I thought that this part was wrong. But fuck, you were right. You were right. You were right. They proved me right about a whole bunch of things. And what happened was actually interesting. When I first got banned, For the first maybe only 6 hours, if you put up a new video with me, they deleted it from YouTube. But now they've stopped. Father on the planet. I think that every son should hopefully think the same of their father. I think a father's role is to be a superhero. I think a father's role is to, I think one of the big mistakes in modern society is that people think that a father should be a second mother, and I disagree. I think a father should be a superhero. Sometimes a superhero needs to go do superhero things. My father wasn't always home. He was away. But when he came home with a story. And I think that the quality of his presence was more important than the quantity of his presence. He raised us with absolute duty to our last name. He made it very, very clear for a very long time that being a Tate means something, and that you have to live an honorable life and a life that's true to God because of that. And also his expectations to us were exceptionally high because we were Tates. When I did something fantastic, when I became state chess champion at age 5, or when I did exceptionally well my SATs, he moved me up 2 grades, etc. I didn't come home and say, Dad, I did this, and go, wow, good job. He was like, well, you're a Tate. Duh. Well, who are you competing against? I was like, well, the other kids at school. Who are they? Don't know. Exactly. You're a Tate, of course. So he always had this huge expectation of us and made it clear that the last name means something and we have to stay true to it. And I think that this is kind of something that's missing from modern society. When you have a duty to your bloodline and a duty to your ancestors, that is something which you carry with yourself away from cameras and away from the eyes of the outside world. So it's been something that's been massively beneficial to me. Even when I went through hard times in my life, I understood that being a Tate prevented me from doing anything that's detrimental to myself. Even basic things. We talked about, let's say, heartbreak. If I had my heart broken when I was young, instead of chasing a girl and embarrassing myself, I could sit in my room alone and think, I'm a Tate. I can't do that. I can't. That's not how Tates act. Love you very much. Goodbye. And I miss